What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, guys. It is time to get busy on the Edge car. As you can see, it is in the air. It is about to drain fluids and all that. And if you caught last week's upload, got the drivetrain there. And we do have this here. Stay tuned for maybe some updates on Philip later this week in another video. But anyway, guys, drivetrain, car, let's go. I know you guys we've had a lot of feedback, guys, a lot of interest in this build. And so we're gonna try to be as detailed as possible and show you everything. And again, this is a lot easier than a Fox, but there are some things that you need to know. Hell, we've even been asking some questions. Every bit of information we're gonna gather along the way, I'm gonna pass on to you, and you'll be able to watch this series and basically do this video. But again, I'm not gonna bore you with taking off the exhaust and the drive shaft and the transmission, all that. I mean, that's basic stuff. If you don't know how to do that, you probably shouldn't be Coyote swapping. So we're gonna pull all that out and then get the engine out, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about some of the things that you're gonna need to know as far as doing this swap. All right, boys, slow start. We got 2 of 4 H-pipe at the manifold bolts have decided to strip completely, so we can probably cut the stud on this side. You can see that it's done. I'm gonna say this thing's probably never been off the car, and it's an 01. And that one is way up in there, not exactly sure what we're gonna do with this one. Maybe cut the H-pipe right here. But all right, boys, a couple quick notes. We got the transmission out. And we're looking back here, you can kind of see that passenger side head's leaking. They're just starting to leak, and so yeah. Even though, you know, this engine, you know, seemed to be fine, it's not. And you can see the heat tabs up there. Looks like it's been replaced at some point. Yeah, with used or new, and of course it's leaking pretty good up front here. So again, guys, this thing was gonna need a whole lot of work. So,
he still didn't need no Pro Charger.
No, it definitely didn't. Glad we decided no supercharger on this thing. But again, y'all, I mean, you get under here, you don't know what you're gonna find. And clearly, this one was more due for an engine swap than we knew. All right, boys, another quick note. One thing we're gonna try to do, not 100% sure if we're gonna be able to, is just basically unbolt the power steering and air conditioning and everything from the engine, leave everything somewhat sealed up, and
I can't get this one out. I don't
yeah,
know going back in, but
yeah. The idea behind that is basically just bolt everything back to the new engine. Not sure if it's going to work. We know we can to get the engine out, but as far as going back in, not 100% sure. So if we can, we'll let you know, and you'll know. If we can't, then you'll also know. But that is the plan right now. We're going to take the power steering and the air conditioning loose from the motor, and then yank the engine out. We're about to yank this thing out, and then we're going to talk about what is the next step, because there's actually several next steps I want to cover. We got to talk about the fuel system, and you know, how we're going to mount this power steering and air conditioning and all that. Quite a lot of stuff. So if you're here for the party and you're thinking about doing this, I'm telling you, you're gonna love this. So we're gonna yank this motor out. Nothing to it, just yanking a motor out, and then we'll talk some other stuff like the motor mounts and all that. So yeah, let's get this out and let's talk. All right, boys, so there you go, engine is out. So let's talk about a couple of things here. And if you're wondering how in the world we got the we'll just cut it. Just cut it right there, because that wasn't going to happen. All right, guys, let's talk about a few things here. Number one is your flywheel. If I'm not mistaken, all 2 valves are 6-bolt, right?
I don't think so.
No? A little mix and match? Maybe the Windsor and the Romeo are different. I'm not sure. If you do not have an 8-bolt flywheel, you're going to need an 8-bolt flywheel. Some are 6, some are 8. I thought all 2 valves were 6, but check your flywheel there when you get your clutch off and see if you've got an 8 or a 6 bolt. What I'm talking about, if you're not 100% sure, is the back side of your crank. All the Coyotes are 8 bolt. So, yeah. Okay, moving on. If you guys remember my swap, I used urethane 99-04 Mustang GT motor mounts that I got from National Parts Depot. These exact same motor mounts. Now, if yours are in good shape, you can use them. So there you go. Don't put junk though. Make sure they're good before you go and do that. So yeah, you're good there. That covers your flywheel, clutch, and all that, and your motor mounts. All that is out. Good to go. Let's talk about under the hood here for a second. So under the hood, and again, guys, as we go along, we're going to pass on as much information as possible, but we're just, you know, this is kind of the preliminary thing. You can watch this and get a good idea. You can see what he did here. Everything's still hooked up. So we didn't crack any lines, AC, power steering, even the starter sitting there still hooked up. Starter, just run the wire from the control pack and you'll have starter signal. So that'll be good. And then of course we're going to use the power by the hour brackets to mount the power steering and the air conditioning to the Coyote motor. A couple of things we're not 100% sure of, if you know the ABS is going to work and if it's going to be in the way. May end up just using this fan if it works, right? Yeah, just use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No reason to change it.
Which we'll talk about the wiring when it comes to it. But of course the control pack has fan control already made into it, so we'll see about that. It does kind of come out a little bit. We're gonna have to see how the cold air intake's gonna route. The goal is to leave the battery, make this as simple as possible. Leave the battery there, all of that, so you know you don't have to do anything unless you really necessarily have to or want to. Of course it's gonna get a good cleaning because the old 2 valve was leaking pretty good. Radiator should be fine, unless you just want to upgrade it. And of course, you know, hydro boost and all that over there, good to go. So yeah, guys, that is basically it at the moment. Engine is out, and we're going to try to dive into some of the details as far as like if we, you know, if the other OBD 2-port needs to stay hooked up for, you know, stuff like the ABS. Don't know. Not 100% sure how all that's going to work. One quick note as well. Doe just brought up, we're going to just set the motor in because again, guys, yes, it will bolt in. We're not sure if we're going to have any clearance issues with the oil pan. So we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, but that's going to be the plan, is just set the engine in and see if we've got any clearance issues as far as that pan goes. They do make aftermarket Coyote pans, so no worries there. Main thing is we just got to see if it works. Then we got to adapt the fuel line. Got to put an adapter on this end. Hook up some fuel to the rails. Basically, you're not going to have to do much. You just got to connect the stock feed line to the Coyote fuel rail. Speaking of fuel system, we got to talk about that next because there's quite a bit that has to go on there that you didn't have to do to a Fox body. So let's get into that. All right, guys. So here's the thing with the 99-04 cars were returnless fuel systems, which means they only had a feed. So you have to, and we'll talk about that in just a second, you have to convert this to a return style fuel system. And the best way we saw to do that, huge shout out to Jeff Harris at Moe's Speed Shop and then Frank at Power by the Hour. We got to pick their brains a little bit and came up with this. This is for a 98 GT. And as you can see, you got a feed and a return line. And the 99-04 just had the feed. Also, Corvette. It's 01, right?
Yeah, 2000.
Or 2001 fuel filter.
Yeah, but this is what the stock fuel filter is, and then it'll just return from here to here.
So, yeah.
This will go in, this will go to the motor.
So, there you go. And that's from a 2001 Corvette.
60 PSI.
So, yeah, there is the fuel system. And again, guys, we're going to be doing all this, and you'll get to see it as we do it.
As simple as possible.
Right. This is just showing you some of the things involved as we get going. But yeah, you do have to convert to a return style fuel system because there's no modules or anything to regulate the fuel. Basically, it's just getting voltage and 60 psi, so it has to be a return style. I also, that's something new to me. I had to be kind of schooled on that. I wasn't sure either why, but that is why you got to convert to a return style fuel system. All right, yo, and of course, as you saw in the previous upload, got the engine, transmission. Again, this is a Ford crate motor, Gen 1 Mustang engine, not a truck motor. This is a Mustang engine. And of course, got the headers and all that. But guys, really what we're doing here is we're going to try to make this as simple and easy as possible. Because, you know, compared to doing the Fox bodies, it is pretty simple and easy, you know, in relative terms. There are going to be some stuff that, you know, that you're going to have to bear in mind, which, again, we're going to cover all of that. So you get to see this done from start to finish. And like I said, you're going to pick up, you know, this maybe on a good day made 220 horsepower at the wheels. Conservatively, that Coyote is going to make 400 at the wheels. So 180 horsepower gain, and you still have a stock reliable engine with air conditioning, power steering. Guys, I'm telling you, you cannot beat this. All right, boys, so that is pretty much it. Again, guys, we're going to do this entire thing right here on the channel, just like we do a lot of the other builds. And this totally makes sense. Even if you're a Fox body guy and, you know, you don't really care about it, watch this, because these cars are a lot of fun. They're plentiful. They're getting very inexpensive to buy. They make great drivers, and you can Coyote swap it. It's lighter than the newer cars, and you'll make the same power, so you'll be faster than a newer car for less than half the money. So this really just makes sense. This is going to be a super fun car, and you'll get to see it start to finish, again, done. Driving, impressions, everything else. And I'm excited to do this. I want to do this. Probably will do that. Anyway, that is what is up. Make sure you are subscribed, guys. You don't want to miss a bit of this. Then, of course, we got all the other badassery. It never ends. I promise it never ends. So, and please give me a big thumbs up. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. All right, later, guys.